Save everyone, may the power of the Kabbalah be with everyone. In this video, we explore the paths of the Sephirothic Tree, a sacred and symbolic representation of Jewish cosmology and the spiritual quest. Each path has deep meaning and offers a unique opportunity for personal growth and transformation. By studying and exploring these paths, we can connect with ancient wisdom and seek unity with the divine. May this journey be a source of inspiration and discovery for all sincere seekers. The Sephirothic Tree, also known as the Tree of Life, is a symbolic representation of cosmology and divine nature in Jewish mystical traditions and Kabbalah. It is composed of 10 Sephirot, or spheres, interconnected by 22 lines, known as paths. In this video, we will explore the paths of the Sephirothic Tree, its symbology and meaning, as well as its practical application and spiritual development and the quest for transcendental knowledge. Origins and history of the Sephirothic Tree. The Sephirothic Tree, also known as the Tree of Life, has deep roots in Jewish tradition and the mystical wisdom of Kabbalah. Its origin goes back thousands of years, and over time, it has evolved and been reinterpreted by different Kabbalist scholars and masters. The origins of the Sephirothic Tree can be traced back to the Old Testament of the Hebrew Bible. In the book of Genesis, the creation narrative features the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is believed to be a symbolic precursor to the Tree of Life. Later Jewish tradition developed and expanded this symbology in its scriptures and mystical teachings. It was in the Middle Ages, mainly in Spain, that the Sephirothic tree began to be formally organized and represented as a symbolic structure. Several Kabbalists, such as Isaac Luria and Moses Cordovero, played significant roles in its conception and development. Their contributions helped to establish the structure of the tree, with its 10 Sephirot interconnected by 22 lines or paths. Kabbalah, and consequently the Sephirothic Tree, is not just a religious tradition, but also a quest for spiritual knowledge, for understanding the divine, and for union with the sacred. Through study and practice, Kabbalists seek to unlock cosmic secrets and the nature of God, as well as explore the meaning of human existence. Over the centuries, the Sephirothic Tree and its teachings have been passed down orally and through sacred texts and preserved by a lineage of dedicated scholars and practitioners. Today, the Tree of Life continues to be a powerful symbol and an essential tool for the study and practice of Kabbalah, being explored by people of different religious and spiritual backgrounds. It is important to note that the Sephirothic Tree has multiple interpretations and variations, reflecting the diversity of traditions and lineages within Kabbalah. Each master and scholar can bring their own perspectives and insights into the tree, thus enriching the rich legacy of Kabbalistic wisdom. Fundamentals of the Sephirothic Tree. The fundamentals of the Sephirothic Tree, also known as the Tree of Life in the Jewish Kabbalistic tradition, are essential to understanding its structure and mystical meaning. The Sephirothic Tree is a symbolic representation of divine creation and the manifestation of the universe, as well as a spiritual map for the individual's inner journey. The following are the main foundations of the Sephirothic Tree. The Sephirot. The Sephirot are the 10 spheres that make up the Sephirothic Tree. Each Sephira, singular of Sephirot, represents a specific attribute or aspect of God and creation. They are, from highest to lowest, Keter, crown, Chakma, wisdom, Bina, understanding, Chesed, mercy, Gevura, strength, Tiferet, beauty, Netzach, victory, Had, splendor, Yesod, foundation, and Malkut, kingdom. The ways. The paths are the 22 lines that connect the Sephirot on the tree. Each path represents a specific relationship between the spheres and describes how divine energy flows and manifests through the tree. The paths are identified by letters of the Hebrew alphabet and are associated with different meanings and symbols. The Sephirot, Keter, Chakma, and Bina, which are the 3 superior spheres of the tree, together form the Sephirot. They represent the highest aspects of divinity and are often referred to as the Divine Trinity in Kabbalah. The planes of existence. The Sephirothic Tree can also be seen as representing the 4 planes of existence: the spiritual world, the intellectual world, the emotional world, and the material world. Each plane is reflected in the different spheres and paths of the tree, demonstrating the interconnection between the divine and the physical world. The path of unification. The Sephirothic Tree is also seen as a mystical journey back to unification with the divine. The path of ascent up the tree, from the lowest sphere, Malkut, to the highest, Keter, represents the individual's spiritual quest to reconnect with their divine essence and transcend the boundaries of the ego and the material world. These are the main foundations of the Sephirothic Tree in the Kabbalistic tradition. However, it is important to highlight that Kabbalah is a complex mystical tradition, with diverse interpretations and approaches over the centuries. The study of Kabbalah requires dedication, understanding of sacred texts, and guidance from experienced teachers. The structure of the Sephirothic Tree. The Sephirothic Tree is a symbolic structure composed of 10 Sephirot, spheres, interconnected by 22 paths. This structure represents divine creation, the manifestation of the universe, and the individual's spiritual journey. Let's explore in detail the structure of the Sephirothic Tree. The Sephirot. The Sephirot are the 10 spheres that make up the Sephirothic Tree. Each Sephira represents a specific aspect or attribute of God and creation. Starting from the top of the tree, we have Keter, crown, represents the crown of divinity, the highest and most transcendent aspect of God. Chakma, wisdom, represents divine wisdom, creativity, and primordial creative power. Bina, understanding, represents understanding, and the ability to discern. Chesed, mercy, represents mercy, kindness, generosity, and unconditional love. Gevura, strength, represents strength, rigor, judgment, and divine justice. Tiferet, beauty, represents harmony, beauty, compassion, and the balance between mercy and strength. Netzach, victory, represents victory, perseverance, willpower, and creative energy. Hod, splendor, represents splendor, glory, gratitude, and creative expression. Yesod, foundation, represents the foundation, stability, connection with the divine, and vital energy. Malkut, kingdom, represents the physical realm, the materialization of creation and concrete manifestation. The ways. The 22 paths connect the Sephirot on the Sephirothic Tree. Each path represents a specific relationship between adjacent spheres. Each path is associated with a letter of the Hebrew alphabet, as well as symbolic meanings and attributes. Meaning of the paths. The paths on the Sephirothic Tree have symbolic meanings and represent the relationships and energy flows between the Sephirot. Each path is associated with a letter of the Hebrew alphabet and carries with it specific attributes and interpretations. Below I describe some common meanings attributed to the paths. Ascension and descent. The paths represent the ascent and descent of divine energy through the different spheres of the Sephirothic Tree. They describe how energy flows and manifests itself in the various dimensions of creation. Integration and balance. The paths also represent the integration and balance of the attributes and characteristics of the Sephirot they connect. They symbolize the harmonization and complementarity of divine forces. Spiritual development. The paths are seen as a journey of spiritual development, representing stages of growth in the quest for unity with the divine. Each path offers opportunities for learning, transformation, and spiritual evolution.
Polarities and complementarity. Some paths represent polarities, such as mercy and rigor, or strength and beauty. They demonstrate the interaction and complementarity of these polarities in creation and in the search for balance between them. Energy flow. The paths are considered flows of divine energy that connect the spheres and facilitate the transfer of influences and power between them. They represent the channels through which creative energy flows and manifests itself in reality. Connections between the planes of existence. The paths also symbolize the connections between the different planes of existence, from the spiritual world to the material world. They show how divine energy manifests and influences each plane. Mystical correspondences of the paths. Paths on the Sephirothic tree are also associated with mystical correspondences, which include symbolic, planetary, zodiacal, alchemical elements, and more. These correspondences provide a broader context for understanding the paths and their influence on different dimensions of existence. Below are some common matches. Planetary correspondences. Each path is often associated with a specific planet or celestial body, representing its qualities and influences. For example, the Aleph path is associated with the moon, representing emotion, intuition, and cycles of transformation. Zodiacal correspondences. The paths can also be related to zodiac signs, representing different energies and characteristics. For example, the Daleth path is associated with Venus and the sign of Aries, representing passion, love, and action. Alchemical correspondences. Some paths are associated with alchemical processes and substances, representing transformation and transmutation. For example, the Beth path is associated with Mercury alchemy, representing the transformation of wisdom into understanding. Elemental correspondences. The four elements earth, water, air, and fire can also be assigned to the paths, representing different aspects of creation. For example, the Gimel path is associated with the water element, representing fluidity, intuition, and emotions. Numerical correspondences. Each path has a corresponding numerical value in Kabbalistic tradition. These values can be associated with different numerological concepts and interpretations. It is important to remember that mystical correspondences can vary between different Kabbalistic systems and traditions. Therefore, it is always interesting to explore different perspectives and study the works of renowned Kabbalists to gain a more complete understanding of the correspondences of the paths on the Sephirothic tree. The specific traditions of the paths. The paths on the Sephirothic tree are studied and interpreted by different Kabbalistic traditions, each bringing their unique perspectives and approaches. Below are some of the specific traditions associated with the paths. Hebrew tradition. Jewish Kabbalah is the best known and most widely studied Kabbalistic tradition. Scholars and practitioners of Hebrew Kabbalah explore the ways based on traditional Jewish sources, including the Zohar and other Kabbalistic texts. Hermetic tradition. Hermetic Kabbalah is a tradition that combines elements of Jewish Kabbalah with Hermetic philosophy and alchemy. Hermetists explore the paths in relation to alchemical and Hermetic principles, as well as astrological and symbolic correspondences. Rosicrucian tradition. The Rosicrucian order is an esoteric society that incorporates Kabbalistic principles in its approach. Rosicrucians study the ways in relation to Rosicrucian teachings and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. Golden Dawn tradition. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was an influential esoteric society that developed a complex Kabbalistic system. Members of the Golden Dawn study the paths within the context of their ritual structure and their magical correspondences. Martinist tradition. The Martinist order is a mystical tradition that combines elements of Kabbalah, esoteric Christianity, and Martinism. Martinists explore the pathways in relation to their journey of spiritual awakening and the search for union with the divine. These are just some of the traditions that address the ways of Kabbalah. Each tradition brings its own interpretation and specific emphasis, adding additional layers of understanding to the paths and the Sephirothic tree. It is interesting to explore different traditions and perspectives to gain a broader and more comprehensive view of these mystical teachings. Exploration of paths. Exploring the paths on the Sephirothic tree is a fascinating and enriching journey. There are many ways to engage with the paths and deepen your understanding. Here are some suggestions for exploring the ways of Kabbalah. Studying Kabbalistic texts. Begin your study by reading classic Kabbalistic texts such as the Zohar, Sefer Yetzirah, and Bahir. These works provide deep insights into the paths and their interpretation. Meditation and visualization. Practice meditation and visualization to connect with the energies and attributes of the pathways. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and visualize yourself walking through each path, exploring its characteristics and absorbing its qualities. Practical work with the paths. Perform rituals, ceremonies, or magical practices that are associated with each specific path. This may involve the use of symbols, invocations, or other corresponding tools. Symbolic correspondences. Study the symbolic correspondences associated with each path, such as the Hebrew letters, planets, zodiac signs, elements, and attributes. Explore how these symbols relate to each other and manifest in the paths. Group work. Join study groups, workshops, or communities dedicated to exploring Kabbalah and the path. Sharing knowledge and experiences with others can enrich your journey and provide you with new perspectives. Consultation with guides and mentors. Seek guidance and support from experienced Kabbalist teachers, guides, or mentors. They can offer valuable insights, answer questions, and provide guidance as you explore. Personal reflection. Take time to reflect on your experience with the paths. Keep a journal or notebook to record your insights, and discoveries along your journey. This will allow you to track your progress and spiritual development. Remember that exploring the paths of Kabbalah is an ongoing, individual journey. Each person can have unique experiences and interpretations. So trust your intuition and follow the path that resonates with you. As you delve deeper into this practice, new layers of understanding and connection to the divine can unfold.